This is part two of my review. I didn't realize that it was going to cut off at 15 minutes. I should have looked at that better. Um, but yeah, getting back to what I was saying, there are some concerns is that there's no validation being done on the front end, so that would all have to be accounted for on the back end if there was one. Um, there is no unreachable code in this project. Loops, branches, and logic as far as the way that the data is being handled here, because there is no backend, but you saw that things were persisting, is that it is all being done in the reducer. So for instance, um, when you submit a thread, it is adding it to the thread array. So it is bringing in everything that is there with the spread operator, and then the threads array is brought in, and then this is added to it, or appended at the end, however you want to go about that. Same thing for editing a thread. It finds it when you delete a thread. It finds it, and then it replaces what is there with a new array, and it just filters out the one that you have selected to delete per se. It is also doing the same thing for the post. When you delete a post, all the threads are there. So I guess as far as storage, it does. I was forward thinking in design there. At least if you delete a thread, all of the posts that are associated with that would be deleted as well. But it's not really storage. When you hit refresh, it all goes away anyway. As far as those things go with variables and how this project takes care of those, they're pretty well named, right? Priv message is private message. Like some of these could be expanded upon, some of them could be more clear. This comment right here, this can be removed. So instead of making it a to remove the selected thread equals null. That's probably not ideal. None of this is actually commented up here, although maybe it's self-explanatory, industry standard. Certainly nothing to rely on. There are some checking here as far as if things are blank, um, but certainly not enough to remove any concerns. There is some documentation as far as what is happening here. So it's not non-existent, but if you go to post, for example, it's going to render the delete and edit button if you are the current user. Otherwise, it will just render the post button if you are looking at someone else posts in your thread. So kind of functionality you would expect, and it's kind of laid out well in documentation. But there are definitely some things that could be expanded upon as well. This also adheres to a different 4 spaces of indentation rather than 2, which is not ideal. That they are not quite standardized from project to project. I'm actually surprised I let that happen because 4 really gets convoluted, or I don't know if that's the right word, but 4 gets really irritating to look at as opposed to 2. I also don't know if this adheres to prettier as well. You know what the IDE does, but I don't know if this project was built with it, so that's something to be desired there as well, standardizing that. But yeah, those are my intentions to wrap this up. This one will get an updated handling of data and state management to increase efficiency. And the first project will get converted to a React web application that will have a backend incorporated with it. So, yeah, thanks.